So about a week or two ago, depending on when I decide to get off my ass and make this video, I caught up to Hunter x Hunter. That's right, the worldwide renowned anime and manga that everyone loves and can't stop making garbage merch out of. Like, come on, there's so much to use here, but instead they just slap a picture of the character and their name. Now, if you've already ventured down this anime manga sphere in the past, you should know what catching up to this manga means. But just in case you don't, let me explain it for you in a very comprehensible way that will not be confusing at all, I hope. Hunter x Hunter, through its many years of existence on planet Chikyu, yes, this is my Japanese practice, has been given the nickname Hiatus X Hiatus by its many fans, and that is because the author, Yoshihiro Togashi, is very well known for taking inconsistent long breaks in between the release of new chapters. And in the manga world, where stories are serialized through a magazine that is expected to come out on a weekly to bi-weekly to monthly to yearly basis, you can kinda see how this would be a bit problematic. But for the most part, people have accepted it. It's fine for the author to take breaks as long as he ends up actually finishing the story, right? But what's even more problematic, and the reason people start crying when they hear you utter the words Hunter x Hunter, is that there hasn't been a single new chapter in over 3 years. That's so long. Now, if this were any other mangaka, they'd probably get their shit canceled. I mean, why should we put up with this dude who's not even doing his job? J.O.B. He's like Clint Stevens, for Christ's sake. However, Togashi's built a little diffy. Don't tell anyone I told you this, but he's kinda got a fat dump truck. And if we were to put this dump truck into words, it would be narrowed down to 3 reasons as to why Togashi is allowed to do the things he does. Number 1, he's established. Hunter x Hunter has literally been serializing since 1998. I can smell the old age coming off this book. Ah, the scent of bones and Play Along Barney. It's already established itself as a manga that is beloved by many and a mainstay on the Shonen Jump catalog. No one's ever gonna mess with this series or Togashi. Who knows what kind of crazy schemes this man has planned out in advance. I mean, have you read the manga? Number 2, chronic back pain. It is well known that Togashi has had chronic back pain for many years, and I would assume that that probably hurts. Listen, I've had back pain before, mostly from being a dumbass and sleeping in weird positions throughout the night, but I've had it. And when that happens, I become like the biggest pussy in the world. Ow, ouchie, ouchie, ow, ow. So if this dude is putting up with that for long periods of time, I kind of get why maybe he doesn't want to hunker down and half-ass some more pages for the biggest arc in manga he's ever created. But then again, he did do that for some panels in Chimera Ant arc, so which is it, red chips ahoy or blue chips ahoy? The answer is red, by the way. Number 3, he's Togashi. As far as I'm concerned, Togashi can do whatever he wants. He's married to the author of Sailor Moon, so you know they have banger intercourse.
Should we try this again?
He also plays Dragon Quest, which everyone just assumed from this old ass picture of his room and how horribly messy it is. Like, how is he able to play soccer here? But yeah, he's awesome, and I would be fine if he just spent the rest of his time on planet Chikyu, hanging out with his kids, Sailor Mooning his wife, and playing Dragon Quest. But then again, we really don't know anything. Like, all the information I just fed you is from years and years of snippets from random interviews and things like that. Mangakas are truly the gods of anonymity. Now here's my social security number. So now that we have all that context out of the way, it's time to actually talk about Hunter x Hunter and the Dark Continent. I'm assuming that most people watching this video have either A, already seen the anime and have no interest in reading the manga, or B, caught up to the manga, or just a psychopath that doesn't care about Hunter x Hunter at all and is just watching this video maybe because I'm super funny and entertaining and they follow me on Twitter at Idiot Jingle and like the video, helps me out a lot. I don't know. For the anime onlys, the Dark Continent is basically what is introduced after the anime ends. It is one of the most controversial world expansions ever because Togashi literally says, hey, you know the world that you've been exploring and experiencing this entire time? Well, that world is actually not the world and instead just an itty-bitty fucking island in the center of an ocean which connects to another piece of land, which is the real world, aka the Dark Continent. And this real world has monsters that are stronger and more terrifying than anything you've ever seen or fought. What the fuck, Togashi? Pretty much, he basically pulled a "this is just the tutorial" part of a video game. And that was so bold of him because at this point, Hunter x Hunter was already known as Hiatus X Hiatus. So Togashi, being the actually insane person he is, instead of steering towards an ending because it's obvious he can't keep up with the weekly serialization of his own manga, he decided to go the complete opposite direction, west, and introduce an entirely new everything. There's very little in this arc that connects to the previous story of Hunter x Hunter. It's like JoJo Part 7, but instead it's just all combined into one manga, and that's a lot of manga. And after all of this was introduced, Hunter x Hunter basically becomes super political. I'm talking princes, princesses, Queens New York. We got a king who wants to take over all of the Dark Continent, and he basically says, okay, so everyone gonna fight each other to the death to see who become new king, but you gonna do it on this giant ass boat that looks like a whale but is also carrying another smaller, normal looking boat inside of it. Yes, this is all real and part of the manga. The boat is going to take everyone to the Dark Continent, but instead of focusing on what was just introduced, we've now taken a left turn, and the manga shifted focus to the succession war that is happening in between all this royalty. Now again, if this were any normal manga, it would be bonkers because we've just gotten this in-depth setup, but we're not going to get a payoff for a long ass time. But this kind of writing style is actually what Togashi is praised for. It's very loose and freeing, and it feels like the story can go anywhere. It's happened in the past as well with Gon's dad, which was presumably the main focus of the series, but it feels like we got sidetracked like 7 times before we actually got there, and it was awesome. So if you were reading Hunter x Hunter and you got to this point in the manga, it's not like you were exactly surprised or anything. Definitely not at that, but you were surprised at the insane amount of exposition dump that just seems to have come out of nowhere. Again, as soon as the anime ends, the chapter where it picks up again in the manga, aka the start of the Dark Continent and the succession war after it, is just straight exposition, and it continues until hiatus. Just to get this out of the way, yes, the hiatus does happen while they're on the boat, fighting it all out, waiting to go to the Dark Continent. And to talk about why this kind of exposition dump can be a problem, other than the fact that it started taking me like 20 minutes to read a single chapter, I'm gonna parrot a quote off of this review on Mal from Kara Gaming in relation to the succession war. The problem is the absurd amount of dialogue and monologue within it that makes it ridiculous. The author of Hunter x Hunter decided that every single character is going to have long monologue and dialogue, but it's even worse when the characters are just red shirts. Yes, this is entirely true. The manga switches between everyone's perspectives. Every prince, every princess, every Queen's New York, every guard, every friend of each guard. There's some recurring characters from previous arcs that are there on the lower levels of the ship, and there's a whole last storyline going on with the mafia down there too. It does become completely ridiculous at some point. For some reason, during this arc, Togashi just decided to manifest this kind of writing, and while reading it all and catching up to the manga, I had a realization. I know how it ended up like this. You see, in previous arcs of Hunter x Hunter, there have always been these elements of monologue and explanation, kind of like with any shonen, but the difference was that back then, we had Gon. Die-hard fans of the series will remember that there used to be this funny kid with the green outfit on, and if you've been paying attention, we haven't seen him at all in these new arcs. He was completely taken out of the story, and as of right now, the anime is his full adventure. The anime is dedicated to Gon, and everything that comes after that is Togashi's bonus essay light novel that he wanted to just tag on to the end. That's how I see it, at least. So how come Gon being in the story makes such a difference in the writing of Hunter x Hunter? Well, to me, Gon represents the opposite of long, dragged-out expositional monologues. He is one of the most bare-bones, simple-minded, goldfish-brained protagonists in all of shonen. There are many moments where characters are surprised at just how honest and trusting he really is, and because of that, when Gon is the focus of the story, there's no need for these exposition dumps of characters thinking super complex thoughts because Gon doesn't have those. He picks something and he goes with it, which allows anybody to sort of self-insert into him as a main character. He's stubborn, he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and for a long time, he stopped Togashi from writing in the way that he does now, where there are too many smart characters and intricate plots to where I just end up feeling dumb. Okay, yeah, that's why I made this video, because I'm too dumb for Hunter x Hunter now, and this is a plea for help. But I would be lying if I said that I didn't at least enjoy these arcs. To me, it was a fun challenge every single chapter to try and keep up with all the characters and the multiple plot threads being updated with each panel. Maybe I'm crazy for that, but it was actually fun. More fun than Flappy Bird, and I don't say that very often. More fun than Angry Birds, and I don't ever say that. Even the art, although it's not used enough, it's some of the best in the series. Kurapika manga makes me coom my pants. He was already badass, but he's even more badass now because he got the suit on. You can tell Togashi is really passionate for this arc, and at the end of the day, that's all you can really ask for. I think at this point though, nobody really cares if Togashi just stops drawing and puts a paragraph down in each panel. We just want some sort of continuation or conclusion to the story. It would be a shame if Hunter x Hunter was never able to get an ending because many have been invested in this shit for a long ass time, and the ending is one of the most important parts of a story. I honestly can't even imagine the people out there who have been caught up since the start of Hiatus. You must be like a rabid dog by now, trying to get any ounce of sweat from Togashi's balls to see if you can analyze the DNA and maybe the string of genetic code that comes out as the dialogue for the next chapter. That's so dumb. But hear me out. I think that if we all banded together,